You've tuned in to Just Black with Melody. We have some updates on our housing situation. We have been enduring so much, but it seems that things are finally starting to pan out, and we could not be more grateful in this moment. We have a few things going on, so come on, let me show y'all. So they have finally finished the fence, y'all. And they did this kind of quick, which I'm a little shocked that they did it in the record time that they did. I was like, okay. And they did a very good job. So let's just pray that this time around, when the rain comes, it does not knock it down again. I think it's pretty solid now because they used metal when they was putting it together. So I don't think that we're going to have the same issue that we had before. And this had fell down also, so they just put another simple one right there. It did have like a whole basin setup, so I'm pretty sure they'll probably come back and finish that part of it. They've laid down all the tiles, so they've gotten that corrected. And some of the tile work they're still working on. But yeah, for the most part, it is all together, and they did a great job. Now I want to show you guys something, okay? So every other video or so, I want to go over some tips to look for if you're interested in buying land or renting a house or even buying a house here in Ghana. So take notice of this wall. This wall was just freshly painted. So I want you guys to take notice of how it looks. I want you to take notice of how it looks. And even if it gets a little dirty, like some of it has, like you see little dirt spot stains, but just take notice of how the wall looks for the most part. Now I want to show you guys something to look out for if you're interested in buying a house or renting a house here in Ghana. You see how that looks? You see the brown at the bottom of the wall? And let's keep going because you can notice it all throughout the wall. So you see that brown against the wall of the foundation. Take notice. So as you can see, it did flood, but you can see the flooding line. Let me get a little closer. Do you see the flooding line? It was just right there. So it wasn't too bad. And that only happened because the back gate ended up breaking. But if that back gate didn't break, it probably would have been somewhere up here. But being that the back wall broke, it really didn't get a chance to settle in like that. So the flood just pretty much stopped right there. But if it's a really like the worst of the worst type of flood, it will go all the way up. And you will be able to tell how high that flood comes. And if it's way high, oh, you definitely want to run. If you see that on the foundation of a house or against the wall, it is a clear indication that that is going to be a waterlogged area and you should proceed with caution. And depending on how high that marking goes up is going to determine how bad the flooding is in that area if it should happen. So another thing that we spoke about was getting the front of the house together also, right? Because when it rains, a lot of that rain comes off of the top of the mountains and it causes the bottom to flood. And that is the issue that we encountered not too long ago. So they have decided, let's fill the front of the house so that is no longer an issue. So let's take a look at what they have accomplished so far. And look at how high this grass has become, y'all. And there are even snakes in here now. We have someone actually coming tomorrow. They have to come and chop down some of the grass because it's gotten way high. Now, I love me a good landscape, but this is a little too high. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on out here. They have implemented this little speed bump that is going to hopefully prevent the water from flowing onto our portion of the road. Let's see how well that works. They've also begun the process of putting down stone so that when it rains, it can kind of withstand some of that flood water. So they spent a good portion of, I want to say, of 2 days taking the time to really lay down a stone. But I don't think that they're finished. I think they're still going to come even it out a little bit. And whatever they don't finish, the cars that pass by will kind of flatten it on its own. all of this in an attempt to keep the flood waters away. Let's hope that this method works, because I'm thinking that even if it rains like really hard, it'll pass this way, kind of like around the rocks that they have laid. We can still use the straight path from the gate to kind of just maneuver our way out if need be, because the rest of the road is okay for the most part until you get all the way at the very end. But they've even laid some rocks up there, so that shouldn't even be an issue anymore. So let's just wait and see for the next flood. Let's see what happens. I will for sure report to let you guys know if any of this hard work and effort has paid off. Rain season, as we know, is right around the corner. So this is really just a waiting game at this point. And let's see what happens. They could have just ran away like so many landlords do, not wanting to be bothered with the cost associated with doing repairs such as this. So I can say that I count my blessings that they have been diligent in trying to correct the problem. And that's really all I wanted from the beginning, either correct the problem or give us our money back. So even though we haven't gotten our money back, I'm so grateful that they have taken that initiative to correct the issue. So I can say that our beef is kind of squashed a little bit. Also, I want to show you guys another sign to look out for. You're purchasing land, planning to rent or buy a physical property here in Ghana. Let's take a walk. And big shout out to Agile Child 6074, the first comment to guess right for last video's trivia question. Now here is another prime example of an area that is going to be waterlogged. So I don't know if you guys can notice in the video, but where I am standing is higher than behind this brick wall. Behind the brick wall, it's a lot lower. So when it rains, guess what's gonna happen? The water is going to flood in, indicating a waterlogged area. So if you was to buy an area like this, you would have to be considering a massive amount of sand in order to fill that area. And this can be very costly if it's something that you aren't prepared for. So I'm not saying necessarily not to buy a waterlogged area, but I am saying that if you're going to be buying a waterlogged area, that you have to consider all of these things and factor it into the equation of purchasing your land or your home. And look at that. This is a prime example of what I was just saying, how they've purchased a massive amount of sand, and they've kind of did things a little backwards. They built their home first, but they're planning to fill it. They'll take the sand and they'll fill the land and make it even up to probably where the concrete starts right there. So that way, when it rains, it doesn't flood their property. So if you see the road as such, see those cracks in the actual dirt, that is another clear indication that this is going to be a waterlogged area. Pop quiz question. When is the best time to look for a house or land in Ghana? Drop a comment down below, and the first person to get this answer right, I am going to give you a shout out on my next video. And that is it for today's video. If there are some other tips that you would like to know about life here in Ghana, drop a comment down below and I will be sure to create a video specific to your request. If this is your first time here on the channel, welcome, and be sure to stay a while. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, we now have a shop right here on YouTube, Sacred Minerals, or you can visit sacredminerals.org to shop all of our products. I will see y'all on the next video.